Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday morning trading session. So the markets just opened up a few seconds ago, and we're getting a little bit of a push higher here in the NASDAQ right out of the gate. I like to give the market a couple of minutes to settle in, just so I get a better idea of which way the market might be trying to go. I think where we're at right now, at around the 56.82, kind of the high of this bar, is also very close to yesterday's highs, and even the day before. The day before we got a little bit higher. But we might be looking at a market that is trying to top out. We did see a big move lower yesterday, only to see the market recover before the close, or recover most of it, not all of it. Let's throw this back on the shelf for a moment. Crude oil a little bit range bound again this morning. Big surprise there. And I'm also watching the euro dollar. That's the 6E, or the euro US dollar pair, if you're following the Forex market. Well, the trend is definitely up. So the Raptor producing a cloud crossover signal here about an hour before the open. Okay, we've got ourselves a possible macro pullback in the hawk. All right, we're only about 6-7 minutes into the session. And there's a crow outside my window laughing at me, so I'm not sure he thinks this is a good idea. Okay, the macro pullback coming back a little bit deeper. And, oh, they slipped me a tick again. It's unusual for the NASDAQ to be slipping me this often. This is the third morning in a row that they've slipped me a tick. And as you can see, I'm going to try to run out the profit target. So I would have hit my profit objective already. I think it's time to maybe get a little bit more aggressive with my stops. We'll bring this in a little bit. Oh, come on. Yeah, that happens, Andres. Andres says, today I had a very long trade lasting over 2 hours on the 6E. It hardly moved. I later found out that everyone was waiting for U.S. news. As you can tell, I don't follow the news that much. Of course, that doesn't mean that it's not worth keeping an eye on, especially the big news events. FOMC minutes, if you're trading the grains, the WASDE reports, those types of things have a tendency to affect the markets. But you did the right thing. You know, if you find yourself in a market like that, really all you can do is wait it out. If it moves far enough to get the trade to break even, fantastic. All right, if we can get this bar to finish higher, I will take the trade to break even. The reason is, you see this bar right here with this wick on it, and this bar followed with the tail. Well, I know that the sellers are trying to push the market down here and the buyers are trying to push the market up there. If the buyers win, well, then the next place the sellers are likely to try is at this high. And that's a good enough reason for me to get the trade into a break-even type situation. right, well, they're taking a little bit too long for me. I'm going to force it to break even. I've removed the +1, so it's sitting right at the low of this bar. If it fails, I'll owe for the commission, but I'm just not all that keen with how long it's taking to unfold here. And of course, it may turn out that I have tweaked myself out of a trade too early. Yet one more time, but we'll see. Well, if this trade works out, I'd better go buy myself a lotto ticket. That came very, very close to tagging me out. Not in the clear yet. You can see these last 5-6 bars retracing their ranges, just really, really stuck. Looks like between 56.77 and about 56.81, 82, or I guess 82 up there, 81. So, what's the high? 56.80. Yeah, so we need to see somebody kick 56.80 quarter. We hit 56.80 a second ago, and now we're sitting back around 70. Oh, there we go. 56.80 quarter, there we go. 81. All right, we might get a little bit of follow through on this now. Okay, let's see how we do at the high of the morning. Of course, there's a reaction, but that was to be anticipated. There's our first eagle with trend signal. The Falcon didn't really have a signal. It had a signal right off of the open, or maybe a minute or two before the open. This red bar through, or red trend line through here, spoiled the pullback signal, the trend line touch signal. And the Raptor, well, you could see this as a double pullback, I suppose. Usually the double pullbacks get a little bit closer to the hard edge. How are we sitting here? I'm starting to think I should have grabbed that $100 while I had it. It would have been $100 near the high. Okay, picked up a couple of dollars on that. Not a huge running trade that I was hoping for, but it's a profit all the same. And lo and behold, we are getting a counter trend signal now here on the Raptor, with the possibility of a second push on the entry. Now, because it's counter trend, I'm going to go to manual mode, and I will look to enter below the low of the current bar, and of course, I do need to cover above this high. Remember to submit your order. Counter trend trades, of course, always riskier. So trade with caution. Okay, we're starting to introduce some yellow bars here in the hawk. That's suggestive of a sideways market, maybe a changing trend, so that would confirm what we're seeing here on the Raptor as well. The Falcon hasn't produced a signal just yet, but you can see how we're holding up on the resistance here at 56.82.5. That's almost like a double top. A very small, very quick double top. Oh, they've got some momentum here. I know, I should take profit on target. I'm trying it again, trying to run a trade out here. I should have just moved the profit target to the hard edge. That would have been prudent. So I'm going to try to short now on this counter trend. The nice thing about a counter trend signal is you always know where to place your stop. Stops always go above the swing high because that is the surefire place to tell you that, yep, you were wrong about this trade. So just getting ready with a stop strategy. I'll use the super trend here to start. It doesn't matter, you can use the ATR super trend. You can even use the parabolics if you like. I'm not too keen to give the market too much room here today, as you can see. Well, we've got a couple bars in our favor, but they're really taking their time here. Perhaps in hindsight, I should have entered on the hash mark. Get in early, have a little bit less initial risk. Yeah, Tony says it's been forever since you used SuperTrend. It just happened to be handy. Andres is asking, how do you get that break-even trigger? I will show you in a moment. Let me just get this trade a little bit further along. Okay, we're coming up with another counter trend signal, another number 2 short signal, so that's promising. Come on. All right. So Andres is asking, how do you get that to that auto break-even trigger? What you want to do is you want to go to your strategies window where your trade manager is at. If your trade manager is currently on, you need to turn it off before you can make any changes. So you go here to where it says enabled, and you click that to false, and you make sure you apply it, and that will turn your trade manager off. Now if you go to the top of your assortment, you're going to see your second category are your auto break-even parameters. First thing you need to do is turn your auto break-even on. By default, it is set at false. Change that to true, and then select what you want your auto break-even to be. So in my case, I usually go anywhere from 75 to 80% of my profit objective. Here on the Hawk, I have a 10-tick profit target, so I have my break-even trigger at 8 ticks. With the Raptor and the Falcon, I have a 20-tick target, so I think I have the default 15-tick, which is, again, about 3/4 of the way to my profit objective. My logic is, if the market gets that close to the profit target without hitting the profit target, then I'll take the break-even +1 stop out. And you can also adjust this. If you would like more than 1 tick, you can save 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, however many you want. Now, I suggest to you, once you have your trade manager set up the way you would like, come down here to your template manager, click here on save, and give it a name. I called mine R2 for the new Raptor. You call it whatever you want. Just type in a name, press enter, and it will save. When you're all finished making changes, go back here to your enabled tab, and remember to turn your trade manager back on. Apply it, and now you will have all your new changes. And that's how you get your auto break-even to work. All right, they're starting to get a little bit restless here, the natives, so I'm going to run my stop in a little tighter still, just above the high of this last swing. In fact, I will go 56.79 just to be nice. That's it for the sellers, though. If they can't pull it off here, then I'm leaving. Time to go. All this sideways trading is very frustrating. In fact, I will move my break even to 1 tick below the low of this bar. Well, actually, I'll move it right to the low of that bar. if we can get back down here, there's a very good chance if we hit that value, the market will break the low of this bar, and it will attempt to break the low of the morning on this bar. So good reason to get to break even. Come on. Oh, you stinkers. Come on. Well, lots of watching and waiting yet again today. Oh my goodness. Come on. I guess when it was down here, I should have popped it to break even. I could roll it here, a couple of ticks, give it 78. There we go. Won a little, lost a little. Now we're coming right back with a hard edge buy, as you can see. Well, the logic is if it doesn't want to go down, it wants to go up. Isn't trading exciting? Come on. It's like that one poster that was going around, life as a day trader. What you think you do, what your parents think you do, what your friends think you do, what you actually do, and all the different photos. And I think when it came to what you actually do, you were just kind of falling asleep at your desk. Don't you dare head lower from here. All right, let's see what the Bulls got. It's looking like we're only getting a signal once every half hour, give or take. Long time between signals today. I guess it's just too much to ask for any follow-through today. Well, we're back at the highs. I suppose I could probably go with a slightly more aggressive stop because there's not really much else to do. Just one of those days, a lot of watching and waiting. But we're long. I will run the profit target this time just so we can watch the market explode after my profit taking order gets hit. Maybe if we all cheered the market higher. Come on, NASDAQ, you can do it. Let's go. Oh, man. Can't even get to the break-even trigger. This is painful. I'll play with my stops some more. That'll keep me amused. Well, we got high enough to hit the break-even trigger. Can we break the high of the morning? The action here in the NASDAQ is gripping. Yeah, I think Mr. Buckley's got it right. They've already all headed to the Hamptons. Um, Daniel's asking, what about the trend change signal on the Falcon? Yeah, we've got a trend change signal building here. So we've got the red trend line turning green. Here's the up portion. That changed the trend line color. Here's the down portion, just a single bar. And now we're working on the up portioning, and we're getting, as you can see, 3 warning dots in a row. The signal itself is not printed yet. However, if it does print, it will print above the high of the bar at 56.83 3/4. So if you like, you could already set a target there. But it sounds like I just got tagged at break even again. Yes, I did. And now they're starting to unwind a little bit. Okay, getting a possible red bar buy signal here on the hawk. I think I might be more inclined to try to short that. and our signal didn't follow through. So yeah, there we go. Okay, a possible first micro-macro cross as we're back into the hard edge. I'm not going to take this one on the hash mark, rather I'm going to try to short it below the low. Because of course, very often we will see a reaction here at the hard edge. Well, there's just nothing going on here this morning. Crude oil fell off a little bit, but the 6E, very, very quiet as well. Andre is asking about the other birds here. So we've got uh, this is the complete DTS package. So here on the top left we have the Hawk Scalper. Top right is the Falcon Swing Trader. Bottom left is the Eagle Trend Trader, and then of course the Raptor. The Raptor is a little bit of a hybrid of the other three birds. So the Raptor incorporates elements of the Hawk Scalper, the Falcon Swing Trader, and the Eagle Trend Trader into one trading system. If you would like a little bit more control over your trades, or perhaps a few more options on your trades, you will get that with the individual tools. The Raptor does sacrifice sometimes quantity of trades for quality of trades. Quality, of course, being more important of the two. I make the analogy that it's a lot like a hybrid car. You know, a Prius, a Toyota Prius, is not a Corvette, and it's not a Ford pickup truck. Will a Prius still get you from A to B? Yes, of course it will, but not as fast as a Corvette might. Can you still move, you know, your suitcases in a Prius? Of course you can, but you can't move as much stuff as you could in a Ford pickup. So I suppose you could say the other DTS birds are a little bit more specialized to their task, and the Raptor is more of a hybrid. Do you need the other three DTS birds? No, no. But if you would like I said, a little bit more control, of perhaps a few more options, it is available to you. You would need to speak to Adam about it, actually, because I'm not sure how he's bundling any of it. But if you're interested, yes, by all means, touch base with him. Yeah, Andres says I couldn't find them on the website. Touch base with Adam. That's the best thing to do. So if you can email Adam at indicatorwarehouse.com. Well, gang, I don't know. Things are just painfully slow here this morning. I think I'm inclined to close up shop a little bit earlier. They're just content to go sideways, as simple as that. If you are going to continue trading this morning, I do believe short signal is in order. We do have the first micro-macro cross pending here on the Hawk, but as I said, we're into the hard edge, and so it might take a little while for everything to sort itself out. But I think I'm going to call it a day, and I will see you on Monday. Hope you have a very nice weekend. Oh, sorry, one more question here from Andres. Andres asking, the other question is, how do you use the filter? All right. The filter, regardless of the tool, is a momentum-based filter. You use the filters differently for each of the birds. With the Hawk, we're looking for the filter normally to be in sync with the signal. So here's a first micro-macro cross lower. I want red bars, red trend lines, and a red filter. So I want everything to be in sync. It's true for the Falcon most of the time. The exception is when we get like a late filter entry signal, where the filter goes out of sync and comes back into sync. But as a rule, the filter, when it's red, the market will tend to be more bearish. When it's green, it will tend to be more bullish. The Eagle filter is a little bit different in that it's very good at tracking momentum. And if you keep an eye on the size of the blocks, the red blocks and the green blocks, you can usually get a pretty good indication when momentum is starting to shift. So you'll notice we have, you know, a decent sized green block a couple smaller red blocks, a small green block, another decent sized green block. Well, now all of a sudden we're getting some red blocks coming back. If we get another red block forming here that's larger, so it seems like the bearish momentum is starting to build, then that will add more reliability to, say, a rule of three signal or one of our counter trend signals that we can take advantage of. And then the Raptor, in most cases, it's the same thing. You're looking for confluence. You're looking for the filter to be in sync with trend signals anyways. Of course, it's not going to be in sync with a counter trend signal. But generally speaking, I pay less attention to the Raptor filter than I do some of the other ones. The only ones, honestly, that I really pay attention to the filter is the Hawk and the Falcon, because they're a little bit more filter specific. You can almost be guaranteed when you print a buy signal on the Eagle that you're going to have a green filter. And likewise with the Raptor, when you print a buy signal, you're going to have a bullish filter. That's almost always the rule. All right, so I hope that answers your question. And if you think of anything else, feel free to shoot me an email. Otherwise, we'll see you Monday. Bye for now.